Those who benefit from war want us to believe that there is no other option but to kill each other. These are not the Israelis, these are not the Palestinians. These are the people of war, whether they are Palestinians, Hamas, or Netanyahu's. It doesn't matter. Whether they are Putin's or Erdogan's, they are people who are bullies. And all those miserable men that are actually little miserable children wants us to believe is that there is no other way but their way, which is the way of violence. I'm so sad to hear my friends, many of my friends, Israelis and non-Israelis, who feel like they have to take sides, and the sides are either you're pro-Palestine or you're pro-Israel. And this is nonsense. The leaders of Gaza and the leaders of Israel are on the same side. They're on the side of war. They both benefit from it. Netanyahu does not want the war to end. Not only because of his ideology, but also because of his trial, because when it will end, he will need to be accountable for all kind of mistakes that he doesn't want to be accountable for. And the Hamas leaders don't want this war. They just don't have an interest to end this war. Peace is not in their interest. Ceasefire maybe sometimes. So there are the people that believe in war, and there are people which are, I would say, the most of the population, unfortunately, most of the population are still believing in war. But there are people who stop believing in war as a way to solve conflicts. Conflicts are an invitation for creativity, not for war. Conflicts are just like there are two different opinions, two different point of views, and the only way to make them come together is when we are creative and we find ways that we didn't think about before. When we the poor mistake is to think that the way to resolve a conflict is by destroying one of the sides or repressing them. Oppression. Israel oppressed the Palestinians for many, many years. What did we think? Of course it will bring uprising and violence. But it's okay because the people who created it are people of violence. The leaders of Israel that created it were people of violence. They believed in violence, even if they said we want peace, but they don't know what peace is. And the leaders of the Arabs are leaders who want violence. So it is up to us to dream a different dream. This is our activism. Our activism today is even just to say we do not buy the story. Yes, you created a path, you the so-called leaders. So it's so sad that we need to call them leaders. But the leaders of the world created a path that at the end of this path there's nothing to do but point the weapon towards each other, and it's either you or me be alive. But I don't believe in the path. You created a path that is leading to war. I don't believe in this path. I believe that long ago, 50 years ago, in 67, 70 something years ago, 100 years ago. There were different ways to deal with the conflict. Yes, there was a conflict when the Jews started to come to the land of their ancestors, and some Arabs, Palestinians, actually lived here, believe it or not. There was a conflict, of course, but the way to resolve a conflict is through creativity, and we did not do that. We are, those who created Israel and Palestine and as nations did not do that. What we did is cultivating the myth that we need to fight with each other forever. So what I want to call is to my friends, Europeans, Israelis, Palestinians, Gazians, so sorry for what my government is doing to you. Fuck, I don't want it. Not in my name, not in my behalf. That's why I left Israel long ago. But wherever you are, in America, in Australia, in the Middle East, what we need to do is to be brave enough to not believe what they try to feed us with through the media. We know that what they say in the media is 20% of the real information that's behind the scenes. We know that. We know that we don't know. So how do we have opinions even? How do we have political opinions? This is so stupid. You know that you don't know so much and still you have opinions. What we need to do is drop all those opinions and say, like, let's start to imagine a world that is not governed by Putin, Erdogan, Bibi Netanyahu, Sinwar, Sheen, all the men that are bullies, that are chauvinist bullies. What would be a world that would have a different civilization that is actually caring about the people? And not only the people, the plants, the trees, the oceans, the forests, this beautiful planet. What would it be? We need to dream it, because what we see in our dreams is going to become reality. First, we see it in our vision, in our dreams. We need to let our hearts dream and not succumb to the despair that they want us to fall into. This is resistance. To say we refuse to be enemies. Like really, we refuse. And it's not about just stopping the war. It's stopping the war inside. It's like, I don't believe in the whole journey that you led us to. So we fight we stand in front of each other as enemies. We refuse to be enemies. We are not enemies. Why do we need to be enemies? For God's sake. We're all humans. And this planet is dying. For us, the people who have the light of the divine burning inside of us with dark power, with light power, with colorful power, it is for us to have visions, to dream it into reality. Even if we don't lead the situation now, unfortunately, more soldiers are going to die from the Israeli side. More Palestinians are going to die from the Palestinian side. I wish I could stop it. I cannot. But I can envision a different world, a different society. dream it, see it in the eyes of my mind and my heart, and call other people to dream it, what would it be? Like, seriously, how would it be? Maybe we don't need nation states anymore. Maybe it's an old and unuseful invention of the 19th century. The Jews do not need a state. The Palestinians do not need a state. No nation need a state. Why does a nation need a state? A state is just like a town. It's a municipality. It's a way to organize the interests of the people who live there. That's all. We need to care for each other. We need to care for the planet. And for us, I call us, you, me, to not fall into despair, to dream big dreams, to start speak about the day after the war. What would it be? Not with a ceasefire. What would be a different society on earth? We owe it to our children, to our grandchildren. We owe it to the lions, to the elephants, to the dolphins, to the fish, to the birds, to the trees.